Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'd like to thank those of you who have watched the videos and have liked them and have subscribed to the channel. I'll keep making the videos if you keep watching them. Also, a huge shout out to Julie, Carl, Luke, Craig and of course Tina at Vector Air, where I purchased this, the Weihrauch HW50s, and also the Vector Optics Weihrauch 6-24 by 44. I'll be doing a mini shootout here, and again, huge shout out to the team at Atherton Indoor Range. That's Steve, Dennis, and of course Jeff the cheeky Scouser. So pushing on with this, what do I think of this rifle? I think for a limited edition Weihrauch Springer in 177, it's such a nice bit of kit. Now, I'll be straight with you, I'm not or haven't been a Springer shooter for a good many years. I used to shoot Springers when I was a teenager, and then when I got back into shooting I went straight onto pistols or replica pistols, then PCPs, and it's now I'm only getting back into shooting Springers, and shooting this Weihrauch is such an absolute pleasure. And you'll recall from my previous video that this was a limited edition of 900, it's 752, and I was lauding the fact that the stock is absolutely gorgeous in terms of its laminate features. It's got 125 for the etching over here and 125 Weihrauch years over here. The stippling at the grip is really nice as well. So is the stippling over here on the main stock over here, where we've got Weihrauch lasered in there. I think overall I'm enamoured of this stock, but as far as the rifle goes, I think I'm even more enamoured. I think it's such a gorgeous piece of kit to shoot, and I found that from my perspective, getting back into Springers, it's really nice because it's super accurate. I've done a bit of testing here at 25 yards just to get to grips with different pellets, trying out things like, for example, QIS's Jack Diablo feels, and I've found that it really likes the exact Diablo shorts in 8.44, so I'm shooting these at the moment, and from my perspective I just need to do some more pellet testing to get the exact right pellets for this. I mean, it's difficult for me to comment on shooting the kind of differences between a Springer, because, like, in fairness, this is the first, apart from doing a video earlier on in the year on the survival rifle that Vector Air provided, and to be fair, that in itself is a novelty gun. This is something else. This is a serious collector's gun, and I'm gonna do a mini shootout. I'm gonna chrono it at the same time, and I'm gonna talk about how I feel when I'm shooting it, also in terms of what's like to break the barrel, what's the trigger like, and essentially what's the recoil like. So I'm gonna put the target out to 25 yards. I'm gonna be aiming over here. Now, to be fair, I think what I'll start to do is I might punch out the numbers, and I might start over here at the number 5 and see, we'll put maybe 10 shots down range at that number 5 and see where they go, and see what it groups like at 25. So I'm just going to put the target out. Grabbing the bench over here. So let's first of all talk about the fact that, yeah, whenever you put the scope on here, it's always good to make sure that you have got an arrestor pin sorted so that you're not getting your scopes to move. If you want to double check, you can always add a little bit of tape somewhere over here just to make sure that your scope mounts aren't moving with the recoil of the rifle. And I found that the fact that the Weihrauch is a really nice short scope, the reason why I chose this is because it allows me to leave on the sights that come with the rifle itself, and also the main factor is the fact that I want enough clearance to break the barrel, so I found it's the perfect scope to use. So, in terms of breaking the barrel, and again, sometimes these take a lot of effort. This one is not too bad, to be fair. It's relatively nice and smooth. It doesn't require a great deal of effort. It's not something that after, say, 100, 200 shots, your arm's going to be hurting a great deal. Now, these pellets I found, compared to, for example, the Air Arms ones, even though they're both 4.52s, for some reason these fit more snugly, these JSB Exact shorts, into the breech. So there's an automatic safety on here, as there are with most Weihrauch springers, and then essentially to put the rifle into fire mode, you push the automatic safety from left to right, and then you've got a red mark over here to indicate that it's ready to fire. Now let's talk about the trigger. Now the trigger, really nice bladed metal trigger, 2 stages, and this is out the box. I haven't even adjusted it. It's got a really nice, but at the same time not a lot, but there is some travel on the first stage. I'm not going to, just bear with me a second, I'm just going to line up the shot on here just to make sure that we're shooting the right place. Okay, so I said I was shoot at the bottom, number 5, just making sure that the chrono is on. Okay, now if you can see when I'm shooting the first shot on the trigger, bear with me 1 second, I'm just okay. I'll talk it through as I'm shooting it. Now, can you see the travel there on the first stage? And if you can see the travel on the first stage, it's not like there's a great deal of travel, but as soon as you get to the second stage, I wouldn't say the word creep. It's definitely not creep, but at the same time you can almost feel the slightest bit of movement before the release on the second stage. Just watch if you can see my finger move. There's the first stage, and then I'm moving very slightly on the second. There, I've moved it. It's not released. I moved it a bit more. I'm being very, very delicate. I'm moving it a tiny bit more. Let's see if it releases now. There, it's released. Now, to be fair, that shot didn't go near the 5. It went above. I was too busy focusing on the trigger to incrementally pull it. But we're gonna go now and shoot, let's say 5 shots at that number 5, and let's see how we get on. But the thing is about shooting springers, which is why I've gotten back into it, is that I find it quite therapeutic. There's something about basically having one more shot, and not worrying about having to stop to fill up for air or fill up a magazine. I mean, to be fair, obviously when you're bench press shooting, you're shooting one shot without using a mag, best practice, but you're obviously having to take breaks to fill up your rifle with air, unless you've got a dive bottle and it's permanently attached to your rifle. But with these, there's something therapeutic about breaking the barrel or cocking lever, and also the skill involved with having to shoot them and understand each rifle's nuances and recoil. So I'm going now for that number 5, and let's see how we get on. Now it's grouping for some reason to the right hand side. Let's see. Which is fine. Just me. concerned about what the grip is like, even though I'm going for that number 5. Let's see. Now, to be fair, this thing is grouping amazingly. But what I'll do is, once I've shot the first group, I'll bring it back, send it back down and shoot another 5. Shoot one more. Right, let me just bring that back and show you, and then I'm going to make some crosshair adjustments and aim for one of the numbers and try and punch that out. So those pellets are straight from the tin, so in terms of results we can see that it's shooting roughly around 11.5, apart from that number 3 at 10 foot-pound, 10.8. So I was aiming for the number 5 with the crosshair. We can see the grouping, which isn't bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some crosshair adjustments, and then I'm going to aim for this number 5, I think, over here. I'll put the target back out. And I'll do another 5 shots. But in terms of the rifle, I mean, it's really nice and light, even with the scope. Very nice to shoulder. Let's have a look at the balance on it. I mean, in fairness, it's not front heavy. It's got a nice weighting to it. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's part and parcel of the danger of getting a really nice laminate stock. You spend quite a lot of time admiring the look and obviously admiring how the rifle feels when you're shooting it, and then you've got the fun and joy of interacting with something like a Springer. So let's go for it. And again, bear in mind that if I'd have put a longer scope on here, it would interfere with the brake barrel, and also I'd have to potentially use mounts which potentially would come back. So I think putting a nice short scope like the Weihrauch, perfect. Okay, let's make, let's just leave it in. Oh, well, that's something to note actually. See where I've just basically moved the safety from the left to the right. Once you put it into fire mode, you can't actually go back. So that's something that I found to be mindful of. So without shooting it, what I'll do is let me just make my crosshair adjustments. Sometimes making these crosshair adjustments is difficult. Okay, let's see. Fingers crossed how this gets on now. With another 5, just making sure the chrome is on and ready. Okay. Wow. Out. So the first shot went to the number 3 and to the number 5. So let's see how the second one does. It's getting rowdy out there as well, so you might hear some of the members. Okay, nearly there. Okay, let's try that. Thing is with these, it's like just one more go, just one more go, just one more shot, just one more shot. Just one more shot. It's yeah, I'll do. Let's see. Punch the 5 out. Oh, that's not right. Again, slightly more to the right. I have hit the 5. But again, this is part and parcel of learning your rifle, getting used to it, understanding how to shoulder it, to take the recoil. Slightly above. Give it a few more shots. And even the trigger, you get used to it. To be fair, it's not like a really pronounced, creep on that second stage. It's to be fair, you can just completely get used to it and live with it. Out of the box. If you want to make that adjustment, you can. Safety, of course. One more shot. One more shot. And again, it's difficult. Like I said, it's so therapeutic. I mean, for the video, I should be talking and saying, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm shooting. But you just get so into kind of like a zen-like state when you're shooting something like a Springer. And like I said, it's really, really, I don't know, I find it so therapeutic sometimes. And shooting a PCP. I think I get stressed out when I shoot a PCP because there's less room for error you'd expect, and then as soon as your pellets aren't going where you're going, you're criticising everything because you're, for example, shooting off the best bench rest equipment, for example, and you're shooting a mega expensive rifle, and then is it the pellets, is it some minutiae factor in terms of how everything's set up? But with a Springer, because you're understanding that there's more room for error, because obviously there's the recoil factor, there's obviously factoring in things like the pellet, the trigger and whatnot, you accept it more for some reason because of the element of then skill and learning your rifle more That goes with any rifle, to be fair, any rifle. Ring doorbell. But ultimately, from my perspective, I do find the forgiveness there of shooting a Springer, and at the same time, the fact that you just get into this habit of just one more go. So yeah, one more go, and then we'll bring the target back. Safety again. Got to keep from forgetting that safety. Right, bring it back. Now, I'm not in the slightest admitting that I'm like a Springer expert. All I'm saying is that from my perspective, getting back into shooting Springers, this is a really nice rifle to get back into shooting Springers with. And it's for this very reason in terms of grouping and accuracy. So I was kind of aiming for the number 5. The first shot on this side went over to here, and then I brought the crosshair back, and this is kind of what I was getting as a group at 25. So I'm really pleased that I'm not as, I'm not going to swear, but not as terrible as I thought I would be with this. So have a look at the chrono results now, so we can see a layer of consistency over 13 shots, which is good. So what do I think overall? Would I recommend this rifle? Absolutely. Would I recommend this rifle to anyone who wants to look at getting into Springers? Absolutely, because of all the different factors, from the aesthetic factor, the fact that it's beautiful to look at, it's really nice and light to hold. Out the box, the trigger's really nice. Obviously you can make the adjustments if you want that ultra perfection. The barrel isn't a mission to break at all. This particular rifle comes with obviously the rear sight and the front sight, which is again adjustable for wind and for elevation. I put a scope on here, nice short scope, and again, if you're wanting something that you feel special shooting, I do feel special shooting this, to be fair, because I know it's a limited edition Weihrauch, but at the same time I find that getting back into shooting Springers, there's a certain degree of skill involved, and I think that once you get hypnotised by getting into that zone of breaking the barrel shooting, you could just sit here for hours and hours and just blitz through tins of pellets to get, you know, I suppose what you want really, you know, hitting out the numbers. That's what happened over here really. I was only supposed to do a few shots just to test it, and God, you know, I was just there going, right, one more, just to try and get it spot on. But yeah, I feel that, I hope you've seen how much kind of passion and enthusiasm I've got for this rifle, and I've got for shooting back into Springers. Not to say that I'm going to stop shooting PCPs or pistols. In fact, I have got some exciting stuff coming up in the next few weeks on the channel for both PCPs and for pistols, so please stay tuned. But for now, this is the end of this video on this beautiful limited edition, Jubilee Edition Weihrauch HW50s. I can't recommend it enough, and especially for the price. I mean, it's going different prices now, but seriously, for a limited edition Springer, it's just wow. So thank you obviously to the guys at Vector where I purchased this, and also thank you very much to the team at Upton Indoor Range. If you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe, and yeah, stay tuned to the channel, and I will be back very soon. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.